It's named Pierce, level 81. Pretty hard. Also, I have to say before we start that this character is, in my opinion, really hard to find some good gear. You need a lot of stuff. You need recharge gear and so on. I will show you detail in informations a little bit later. You have to cap your resistances, you have to keep the HP high, you need attack speed, you need pretty much, and here we are. So I will show you first of all maybe the skill tree. It's pretty straightforward. It's, I would say, a normal hunting a tree for Haruspex. Maybe I can show you first the passive skills. Obviously Woodlore, max it out, pretty damn good skill. A lot of defensive ability, a lot of attack speed, especially attack speed, you will need it. Also the buffs, there are many in the hunting tree. You need Herbal Remedy. It will already cap your poison resistance. You get health experience, pretty good buff. Also this one, Art of the Hunt. As a Haruspex, you need a lot of piercing damage, and you will deal a lot of piercing damage. As you can see, this is perfect. You get straightforward 115% pierce damage. Also the passives of this buff, find cover to get just a lot of chance to avoid projectiles, and the last one, trailblazing, just for more movement speed. The reduced entrapment duration is not that important because you will see later on you will get it on a helmet. The next skill, which is pretty damn good, the passive one, is volley. The description says it launches 3 projectiles, but trust me, it also works on a spear. You just hit 3 times with spear. Pretty easy. So you have a 20% chance to deal triple damage. Pretty easy. The next buff is this one, Call of the Hunt. Also pretty good. You will get the attack speed, which is great. The rest is not that important in this one, only the attack speed, but the passive skills are pretty damn amazing. As you can see, exploit weakness, 166% pierce damage. And the last one, finesse. This skill was introduced in the Atlantis expansion. So if you don't have these 2 skills, don't worry, they're only available in Atlantis. And as you can see, you get a lot of here. You get 600 offensive ability, 10% offensive ability, pretty great. So after activating Call of the Hunt, you will deal a lot of critical hits, you will get a lot of attack speed and a lot of pierce damage. And the last important skill for Spear Haruspex is this debuff, Study Prey. As you can see, minus 66% physical resistance and pierce resistance. As I already said, you will deal a lot of damage, a lot of pierce damage with Haruspex. So this is great, but also keep in mind that pierce damage is converted from physical damage. So the minus 66% physical resistance is also great because there's a lot of physical damage as well. And the passive of this one, Flush Out, minus 48% defensive ability, which is also great. So you can imagine when you activate Call of the Hunt and you get a lot of offensive ability, and then you activate Study Prey, a debuff on an enemy which reduces the defensive ability of the enemy, you will only deal crits. And that's it. I already skilled Monster Lure just because I have a lot of skill points over. But in my opinion, you don't need it. Now maybe the more interesting skill tree, which is Dream. First of all, there are 3 trances on the left. You can only activate once at a time. I would say in the beginning, the trance of Empathy is the best one, just because of the attack damage converted to health. Later on, I would say this one is better because of the damage absorption. But when you're pretty high level and you got your gear, then it's not so important anymore to have the damage absorption, because as you can see, without my buffs, I have pretty nice resistances. Um, so when you're really high level and you get a lot of great gear, I would say that Trance of Wrath is the best one, especially for two things. First of all, the reduced resistances. That's great, but the more important one is the skill disruption. So anytime a big monster is channeling a heavy attack or an ability or whatsoever, it will disrupt the skill. So it's great. You will absorb a lot of damage with this one. Then this path here, pretty straightforward, just physical damage, offensive and defensive ability, and total speed, avoid projectiles, and slow resistance. Trust me, as a melee character, slow resistance is pretty nice, and you will need it. If you can't cap it, I would recommend to get the relic. I don't actually know the name. Let me see if I have it somewhere. Yes, here. It's called Incarnation of the Iron Will of Ajax. As you can see, you will get 39% slow resistance, and so you will cap it with the passive of the Dream Tree and this relic. So this is pretty easy to explain. Then your main left click ability, this one, Psionic Touch. Pretty easy to understand. There are 3 charges. Every fourth attack is dealing 114% total damage and 127 vitality damage. The passive is not so important. I used it especially for the 48% damage to demons. You have a lot of demons, especially in Act 4. There are only demons, so it's pretty nice to use. And the last one, which was also introduced in Atlantis, is this one, Psionic Beam. Many people don't actually know that you can use it all like volley, which is meant for projectiles, but it works also with spears. So this one, Psionic Beam, it's meant for staffs, but you can also use it on the spear. What does it do? It only reduces the charge levels. So as I told you in the beginning, normally you have 3 charge levels and the 4th attack is dealing much more damage. After having this one, it reduces the charge level, so every second attack will deal much more damage. Please keep in mind that the -2 charge levels you will only get after reaching 8 out of 6 skill points, so you will have to get some extra skill points. Then your best attack for reaching faster enemies, and also a great attack for dealing more damage, dealing damage in a 360% arc, and also while using this you will get for a short time or for a short duration of time invincible, so also a great escape tool. I have it on the 2. When you're playing maybe a defense character, you already know the attack shield charge. This Phantom Strike is pretty much the same, just in my opinion a much better version. Also the passive one, just to hit as many targets as possible, to give a bit better and greater arc, and to get a stun chance. The rest is, in my opinion, not so important. You have too many. You have also two more skills, which are nice, but in my opinion not a must-have. First one is Distortion Field, just to get the damage absorption, and also this one, Dream Image, which is perfect for boss fights. So when you fight, for example, Typhon, just pop it. It will create an illusion of yourself. It deals pretty high damage. Then you can debuff the boss with Study Prey, and it will escalate really soon. Now I can show you my gear. As you can see, there are some monster infrequent items. For example, this one. It's the Outrider's Buckler, which is, in my opinion, one of the best shields we can get in the game. As you can see, I have pretty nice prefixes and suffixes on this item. I got the minus 13% recharge, which is amazing, and I also got the pierce resistance. So in total I get more than 70% pierce resistance just out of this shield. I will get some attack speed and I will get recharge. As I told you in the beginning, for the Haruspex, these are three stats that are pretty hard to get, so I'm pretty still amazed about this shield. Also, it got the relic Light of Belamus, which grants me 12% more health and 35% vitality resistance. Pretty amazing shield. The next monster frequent item is the Black Steel Spike, which can be farmed in the last area of Act 5, where you fight these big giants before you kill Sorter. It's pretty rare, and also it's even more rare to get with an attack speed suffix. In this case, I got not the best roll. I got only 25% pierce damage and 25% attack speed. It could be more, but trust me, I farmed it for hours and it was too hard to get, so I quit after I got the one with 25% attack speed, which is great. Because why is this item so great? First of all, you get a lot of damage, but the most important thing is you get 30% pierce ratio. So 30% of your total damage, of your physical damage, is converted to pierce damage, and also it got increased by 25%. And it got the relic Anubis Rev just for the 12% attack damage converted to health. So when you got this, you don't need, in my opinion, this trance anymore, and you can get to the next one. And the last, it's not a monster frequent item, but it's a green item, which was for me pretty hard to get because you have to cap your resistances somehow. I used this one, which can be obtained in Eternal Embers. It got a lot of resistances, double cold. It also got chance to dodge attacks, and in my opinion, the best relic for rings is this one, Dionysus Wineskin, which can be farmed in Act 1. In my opinion, the easiest location is the Hydra in Legendary difficulty. You get straightforward 6% physical resistance, a bit of health, and some more resistances. So as you can see, I got a lot of cold resistance in this one. If I get it out, you can see I dropped to minus 45%. When I put it on, I got 74% cold resistance in total, so I receive over, how much is it? It's 79, round about 120% cold resistance. And in my opinion, these two items are mandatory because it's obviously the best ones. Then also an item or three items that are mandatory in my opinion are this, how is it called? Artifact, Talisman of the Jade Emperor. You get all things you need. You get elemental resistance to cap it, you get a lot of strength, you get some defensive ability, and the most important stat, recharge. Maybe you will ask yourself now, why do I need recharge? Pretty easy. There are some buffs or some skills that you have to keep up all the time. One of it is Call of the Hunt. Normally it has, I think, 180 seconds of recharge. When I put my gear on, as you can see, I can cast it while the duration is still on. If I get my recharge gear out, as you can see, we get back to 180 seconds and only 60 seconds duration, so it's pretty annoying. Normally you can only use it for bosses, but when I have my recharge gear on, I can keep it up all the time for normal fights, for boss fights, in dungeons, wherever I want. Also, which is important, or some information that could be important for you, is recharge gear is pretty hard to get on non-intellect items. So as you can see, I have a lot of dexterity-based items, and there are not so many options. Just give me a second. I have a problem. Yeah, I don't have enough strength, so normally I have to put on this one, and then I can switch it. Yes. So that's it. So as I told you, this artifact is pretty mandatory. Also, it's not that easy to get. It's a divine artifact. Check on Titan Quest database the stuff you need for it. Then the next mandatory item, in my opinion, is the tracker's hood, just for two things. You need it for the pierce damage and you need it for the recharge. So when you sum up this recharge with this one, we are at 55%, and then adding this one, I have I think 68%, yes, in total of recharge. In my opinion, you need a little over 50%. 50% would be 90 seconds, so you can't keep it up. 60% should be enough. And the pierce damage is pretty amazing. In total, 95% pierce damage. It's a great damage boost. The next item, Apollo's Will. Also perfect items. Pierce resistance, pierce damage, dexterity, health, volley, out of the hand. Pretty nice. But keep in mind, I have a lot of them, but you are switching a lot of resistances for a lot of damage, which is not so useful. I would always recommend to keep your resistances kept and then switch some items if you can for damage. But never switch defense for offense, it's not worth it. And then there are some items which are used by me, which are in my opinion pretty nice, also not that easy to get. First one is Torque of the Ancestors. There I will have to thank a guy who's also doing guides on YouTube for Titan Quest. I think he's from Austria. He gifted me this item a few days ago. I just couldn't find it. I was farming Ragnarok for hours and hours and no chance, and he had it over, so he gifted it to me. Also pretty perfect necklace. You see physical resistance, pierce resistance, bleeding, vitality, sleep, stun, so a lot of resistances in total. Shield block chance, which is also pretty nice for Haruspex. Total damage, also nice. Defensive ability, also nice. And one of the more important stats, +1 to all skills. I have also the Stonebiter cuffs here with health and 3 to all skills, so this necklace and the Stonebiters I will get in total +4, but in my opinion it's more useful to switch this one for this one and put the boots on to get also the bonus of physical damage, pierce damage, strength and dexterity, but we will get to this one a little bit later. So in total, Talk of the Ancestors, a pretty great item. You can also use this one, Pendant of the Immortal Rage, but then again, you're trading defense for offense, which is not useful in my opinion. And the last three items, as I already told you, this one and this one, the boots and the gauntlet, which can be found in the legendary version of the Chaos Dungeon. I farmed this one in legendary difficulty in the Egypt dungeon. They are pretty great in my opinion. The whole set is perfect. I have the helmet on my Conqueror, and I'm using also some other stuff on some other characters. But on this one I'm only using this two. As you can see, also great defense, dexterity, total speed, move speed. By the way, total speed is also used in attack speed. So you will also get a little bit of attack speed, as you can see. Just give me a second now. So as you can see, I get a little bit of attack speed just by equipping these boots. And chance to dodge attacks. In total, I have a lot of chance to dodge attacks, 31%, and avoid projectiles without buffs. I think with buffs we get over 60% here. Back to the items, and you get the little set bonus. So physical damage, pierce damage, strength, dexterity, pretty nice. And the gauntlet, which is really fine. You get bleed resist, you get attack speed, which is already, as I told you, pretty important for the Haruspex. You get +2 to all skills, +5 to study prey, so a great item in total. Also, one more important information. These two items get you a lot of resistances, a lot of armor. As you can see, I get the most armor out of my arm armor and my leg armor. So much more than my torso and head. Speaking of, the last item is Philips Unity. Also great item, was introduced in Atlantis. It has some really interesting stats. For example, the 25% increased pierce ratio. Please keep in mind it's not just straight up summed with the pierce ratio from your weapon, it's multiplicative. So I get 40% over here and 25% out of 40%, even more just because of the torso. So in total I have around about, is it 48% pierce ratio? I'm not that great in math. Um, the whole set is giving you pierce ratio. As you can see on the boots as well, you get also here 22%, but in my opinion these boots are better than this one. So I can use both, but these are just better for me. Also some nice resistances, especially the vitality damage resistance is pretty great in my situation. Also you get total speed. As I told you, total speed means attack speed as well. You get +2 Call of the Hunt in the hunting tree, defensive ability, pretty great chest all overall, and also great armor rating. This here is just some swap gear. For example, this one, if I need maybe a little bit more of, I don't know, attack speed, this one is great for fighting demons. The boss in Ragnarok, which only spawns in Legendary, I forgot the name. I think it's on the left side in one dungeon where you can find the silver plates which are used for one quest. He's a demon, so in total I'm just dealing 60% more damage to him, and he's, in my opinion, the easiest farmable boss in Ragnarok, so I farmed him a lot. And then I just put on this boots. Also, if I needed the Stonebinder's cuffs just for a little bit more health, a little bit more plus to all skills, can be useful in some situations, but normally I'm only using this one. Now I can show you maybe when I'm fully buffed. As you can see, in almost all resistances I'm capped or pretty high. Only physical resistance is lacking a little bit, but in my opinion 26% is totally fine. As you can see, without Call of the Hunt I'm at 180% attack speed, which is enough, and 8000 damage per second. If I activate Call of the Hunt, which I can keep all up the time because of my recharge gear, I get about 12,500 and over 200% attack speed, which is great. Also, the secondary resistances, slow resistance fine, stun resistance is okay, and the other one are not so important in my opinion. As you can see, offensive and defensive ability pretty high, so there are a lot of crits. I don't get many crits, so when monsters are attacking me, so this is also great. Movement speed, cap, recharge, as I told you, 70% almost, and chance to avoid projectiles, 55%. Also pretty great. And that's it overall. Maybe I can show you the attributes. So I spent 0 points in energy, 0 points in intelligence, and most of the points went straight into dexterity, strength, and health. Please don't forget to skill health. I don't know, there are so many people building glass cannon builds with, I don't know, 4000 health at level 75, which is not enough, trust me. I even think this a little bit over 6000 in my opinion is not enough. You can see when I switch to the Stonebinder cuffs I get a lot more, 70 health in total more. So as I told you, if I need it, I use it. But also don't, as I told you, to keep in mind to put some points in health. Also, don't forget strength. Yes, in the anniversary edition there was a patch where dexterity increases your pierce damage, but as I told you, physical damage is converted to pierce damage, so it's also great to have a lot of strength, because it's increasing your normal physical damage. Also, you need a lot of strength just to equip some items. As you can see now, I don't even have enough. Oh no, wait, torque. As you can see, 547 is not even enough for these items. You need 558. And that's pretty much it. There's not so much more to say. Maybe I can show you some damage, which is in my opinion perfect on a Haruspex. You're killing bosses so fast. Maybe I can show you. I think Typhon is a pretty nice example. You will see it right now. I'm I will melt him. Just let me get there. Maybe I can give you one more useful tip while fighting Typhon, especially for maybe new players. Typhon has these thorns. Please be careful. It's just something like a reflect, and he's down. So while he has the thorns up and you try to attack him, he will just reflect your damage, so you will kill yourself. And as you have seen, it's so easy to kill Typhon. This character is just melting bosses. Also a nice legendary. And now I want to show you something in the newest DLC, Eternal Embers. These are maybe the hardest monsters to fight. You will see this character is also melting this one. And I'm not even debuffing these monsters. And as you can see, I'm just going through them. Yeah, and that's it. You also have a lot of life, a lot of damage converted to health, just because of the ref from the relic, Anubis ref, or however it is called. Yeah, high resistances, high damage, high health regeneration. Everything is perfect, but as I told you in the beginning, you need a lot of great gear, and this is not even the best gear I can get. You can also enchant in Act 5 your legendary items. I could get maybe a little bit better of a weapon, and then it would be perfect. But there's still some improvements. I think this will be it with this character, because I have so many hours in him. There is not so much fun for me in this one. And that's it. That's my first guide I have ever made. I think maybe there will be some more in the future. Leave a like and a comment down below, and maybe we'll see